Hey, buddies, welcome back. Today is something a little bit different from our normal adventures of being out in the river or out in the stream playing in the dirt. I'm bringing another prospector with me. I'm sitting here at home, and I've got the pleasure of sitting down with Lucas from the Glacial Gold Hunter. Many of you might already know Lucas from his incredible knowledge of geology and seeking out that glacial till gold. So, Lucas, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So stick around, buddies. We're going to dive deep in with Lucas and learn about his prospecting journey. You sure won't want to miss this. All right, Lucas, again, thanks for joining me today. Um, the main question I have for you is who is the Glacial Gold Hunter?
Well, I'm a rock enthusiast, a geologist, and I just love getting out there going on adventures. My name is Lucas. I don't generally say my name, but people know me out there as Lucas, a glacial gold hunter. I went to school at UMD in University of Minnesota Duluth, and I got my degree in geology. I've been working as a geologist I graduated in 2010, so I've been out in the field here and there, and now I'm a geologist slash YouTuber.
All right. Um, so obviously, you with your degree in geology, being a geologist, you know all about rocks and the lay of the land and all that. Knowing geology and gold prospecting does go hand in hand, but what kind of turned you towards the whole gold prospecting journey?
When I went to school in geology, they never taught me that there was gold in the Midwest. They kind of said that people had prospected and that they didn't find anything, and I never really thought about it. And it wasn't until I started watching other YouTubers that I realized there's gold in Minnesota, there's gold in Wisconsin, there's gold to be found in the Midwest. And then I'm like, well, I better look into that. So just because you know things about geology doesn't mean you know everything about geology. And there's a lot that I have been learning about prospecting, and it's been really fun. It's been a new avenue to kind of go deeper into the geologic knowledge that I have an interest in already. So it's been a fun journey.
So how did you say you got your start watching YouTube videos and learning that way? How did you make that leap from watching the YouTube videos to actually getting out in the field and seeking gold yourself?
Well, it was a lot of curiosity. I'm sure, like a lot of people, we discovered that there's gold in the Midwest through watching the Flower Gold Wizard. He's based in Wisconsin, and he's like the go-to guy. He's the
Yeah.
biggest YouTuber in the flower gold industry, I guess.
Yep.
But I just watched every video he made, and the curiosity built up so much that I started researching where I could find gold, and I found out that there was gold nearby me. And I have another YouTube channel where I make bronze sculptures and do
Oh,
metalwork.
yeah.
So I thought, you know what? I can take that, I can build a sluice box, and I can make a video of me building a sluice box. And like, I kind of used that as a launch pad to jump off of. And then I just started going out in the field just to see what I could find. And yeah, it just kind of ballooned from there.
So, I guess you could probably say that Jason, the Flower Gold Wizard, kind of helped fuel your fire, get you going. Was there anybody locally? Did you have contact with anybody like locally in your area that you were able to lean on for advice or ask questions on?
No, I'm a bit of a loner sometimes. I'll just go off and do stuff by myself. It was definitely the Flower Gold Wizard that sparked that initial interest, and then kind of get obsessed about my hobbies. So it just went deeper from there. I didn't meet anybody until just a few months ago. I finally went to a GPAA meeting
Yeah.
on the Mississippi River, and that's the first time I ever met anybody that finds gold around here. And since then, I met a few more people. So other than meeting those people, I kind of went out on my own to just see what I could find, and I'm okay with doing that. I like to go out there, and if I fail, I fail. If I succeed, I succeed. But I'm not afraid to go out by myself and just see what happens. So that's kind of what I started doing.
That's that That's pretty much how I am. I'm with you 100%. I like doing things on my own. When I learned how to hunt and fish, I learned from reading magazines and just getting out and just doing it myself. And the same thing with prospecting. A lot the same. I'll just go out on my own. Maybe take somebody with me, but yeah, I enjoy just being in the outdoors and just learning from experiencing stuff. So. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I feel it close. So, um, where do you spend now that you've gotten into prospecting and we all have our normal haunts, the normal places we go? Where do you spend most of your time prospecting now? What area of the country? Um, let's just stick with that for now. What area of the country are you do you normally prospect right now?
So I primarily stick to Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And I've gone as far as North Dakota and Iowa, but I'd say those three states are the places I spend the most time. I kind of border hop between Minnesota and Wisconsin a lot. So that's my primary hunting grounds.
Yep. So, you're hunting, you're prospecting in those areas. What type of terrain are you normally in? Do you like to stick to rivers, creeks, dry land? What do you like to go after mostly?
Well, primarily the rivers. I like to find faster moving water because that's where you're going to find your gravel separating. When the glaciers came through, when they were melting, they dumped a ton of water into some of these river valleys, and then that left all the bigger rocks and gravels down deeper. And over time, it's been covered with mud and sand, and you're not going to find gold in the mud and sand. But if there's a fast enough moving current, it continues to strip away the sand and that might dump it down at a river delta or whatnot. So I generally look for water that has some faster flow, not a lot of sand. I like gravel and cobbles, and that's where I've been finding the best gold around here.
So, do you remember your first time out prospecting?
Yeah, I do. It was on the Mississippi River, and I just bring my shovel and my pan. I had no idea what I was doing or what I would find. And I remember panning thing down, clumsily using the pan. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I see this little tiny, tiny little speck, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, is that gold? I didn't even know because I'd never seen gold in a pan
Yep.
before. But it
Yep.
was a big enough piece that it just glinted like nothing else in the pan. And I'm like, I think that's gold. Wow. Then you got the bug, and there's no cure after that. So
100%, 100%. So let let's focus a little more on that. Can you explain your reaction? That, you were there on the river, um, didn't really know what you were doing, just trying to feel your way
yeah.
around, and you're panning it back and you see something. What's that feeling? Can you even describe that?
Well, I would say that the first feeling I had was confusion because I'm like still in kind of disbelief. Like, is that gold? What is
Yeah.
that? And like I just didn't know. And then like I found a few specks. I brought them home and I had my little vial there and I put them in the vial. And there's so few specks you can barely even see what's in there. But you get the right light and you see that gold color and it's like, man, that's cool. It's, you have that satisfaction. I went out and I found that. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a prospector and you found your first spec, I know what that feels like. It's hard
Yeah.
to put into words, but it's just cool. It's a cool feeling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. So, what keeps you coming back for more? I mean, I think I already know that the answer to that. But can you describe what keeps you coming back for more?
Well, it's definitely not the monetary value, but
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
it's just the curiosity and the intrigue. Being a geologist, when I find other things, even other than gold, it's just cool to me. It's fun. But finding that gold, it's like channeling a little piece of the 49ers. There's just something about finding gold that's just cool. And I like doing that more than agates. Where I am, like in Minnesota, Wisconsin, there's a lot of agate hunters. People go out and they love agates. Agates are cool, but I've never really been big into finding agates. But there's something different about gold. I just want to keep going back and finding more of it.
Sure. Yep. I understand that. Yep. Um, so again, I've watched your channel for a while. I'm enthused with your knowledge. I love how you portray that knowledge with your viewers. You obviously know your stuff about geology. That's without a doubt. And your enthusiasm out in the field it's addicting. It's yeah, it's contagious. It literally is contagious. So just seeing you on the screen and getting that energy from you. Not to mention the humor in your videos and the clips you put in there. And I mean, they just fit so well. That's so entertaining. What is it that made you decide to share your experiences and knowledge with the rest of us on YouTube?
To be honest, having a YouTube channel is a good way to pay for your hobbies. I found that in the bronze casting community, the bronze materials can be expensive, but with a YouTube channel, you get that revenue, and it can open up your availability to what you can do. So when I started finding the gold, I figured the only way this hobby is going to pay for itself is if I start getting some YouTube revenue. So I decided I was going to start a channel, and I waited till I had 5 videos saved up, because if people liked one video, then they could binge watch it. And it just exploded a lot bigger than I thought it would. And it's been really good, because now I don't feel bad about driving 4 hours to find a spot to pan for gold, or 6 hours, whatever, because I can make a video of it. But it's also just it's
Yep.
fun. Even when I'm editing the videos and stuff, I watch myself, and I don't normally watch myself do anything. And I'm like, sometimes I crack myself up, and that's where a lot of the clips come in, is during the edits. I'm watching myself, and I'm just like, what I'm thinking is the kind of clip that I put in there as I'm doing the edits.
Yep.
So it's fun in that regard as well.
So if you had one piece of advice to give a new prospector, what would it be?
Don't be afraid to find nothing, because every time you're out there panning, you're gaining experience and you're still learning. But to find stuff, I would say that if you're going in the glacial till, I've done the best finding cobbles and sand mixes. That's where I found the gold. And people, they'll comment all the time and say, yo, you got to dig deep, you got to find bedrock. And maybe that's where there's the most gold. But in my experience so far, if it's a gold bearing stream and you find that gravel, cobble, sand mix, you're going to find at least some specks of flood gold. And then maybe it'd be worth digging deeper to find bedrock or a clay layer. But that would be my my advice, I guess.
All right. Okay. So that's kind of all the questions I have for you so far. Um, to wrap this up at the end here, um, I have a few rapid fire questions for you.
Oh boy.
Um, so I'll ask these questions just to elicit a quick, off the top of your head response from you. So that's what kind of make it fun. So, are you
Okay.
ready?
Yep, ready.
Okay. All right. So, would you rather find a 3 gram nugget or 3 grams of flour and small flake gold?
I'd say 3 grams of flour. You can
All right.
spread it out
Good.
bigger.
Yeah. What is the most interesting place you have prospected? Most interesting place?
I recently went to the Ropes Gold Mine in Michigan. That's a sneak peek of upcoming video. But that was really cool to actually see an actual gold mine. So far, I'd say that was the most interesting.
Okay. Do you have a most memorable place that you've prospected?
Most memorable. I think Lake Superior is just kind of an intoxicating place. It's one that I started watching the Flower Gold Wizard go to, and when I go there,
Yeah.
it's just kind of a magical place.
Okay. Last one. Favorite color of gold pan?
A lot of people say blue, but I think I'm going to go team green on that. I like the green pans.
You like green. Yep. All right. Good. Good. Very good. All right, Lucas, thank you again for joining me tonight. Thank you again for sharing your experience with all of us. I really appreciate it. Um, and I look forward to your next videos coming out. Do you have any parting words for us tonight?
Just I'm really grateful for all the viewers, all the fans out there, and yeah, it's always fun. So thank you.
Yep. And we are all grateful for everything that you put out, the content you put out for us, the knowledge you put out for us. It is we are very thankful for that. So we appreciate that. So um, again, thank you, Lucas. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining me. We're going to wrap this up. Next time, we'll be out on the river in search of some of that flower gold. So thanks for joining us. Heavy pans.